Did you know family businesses are at the backbone of the American economy? 62% of the workforce is employed by a family business, and 64% of the GDP is contributed by family businesses. According to the Family Business Center, there are 24.2 million family businesses in the United States. Of that, most of those family businesses will fail. And when a business fails, that impacts not only the owner and employees, but it impacts customers, the local economy, etc. So, what is the strategy to fix a failing family business? Watch the next 4 minutes to find out.
You might have found yourself in a position where you put a family member in charge of something because you really wanted them to take lead in that area. But why it's failing is because they don't actually have the skills to drive that specific area. This is where the hard conversation comes in, because you have to address and acknowledge that you put them in a situation where they don't have the experience nor the skills to be responsible for the numbers that are required for that function to function properly. And so they either need to go get the skills and experience in a very short amount of time. They need to take courses, they need to put extra hours in, they need to spend time, energy, and money to figure out what they need to add to themselves to be good at this, or they need to not be responsible for that thing. But you can't continue to allow the business to not work just because you put somebody in there and you're not willing to have the conversation with them that they aren't capable yet of doing it. And that's the best way to frame it. You aren't capable yet. You don't have the skills or experience yet. And you can see this because the numbers aren't panning out. So we have to get you capable. We have to invest this time and get you the experience. And this is the amount of time that we're gonna allot for that so that this can get right-sided and fixed immediately. The more you look at your numbers and the more you hold people accountable to those numbers, the easier these conversations become, because it's not then about feeling and it's not about family. It's simply putting a graph in front of somebody and saying, this was the target, this is where we're at. You've been responsible for the target and this is where your output has been. Therefore, we need to get you to a place where you can actually hit this target. You have to move, your skill set has to move. You have to go from here to here. So let's figure out a plan in order to get you there. Without that data, it just feels like you don't know what you're doing. You aren't ready yet. You aren't prepared. Well, says who? You don't know what you're looking at. You're just doing it based off of your feelings, which remember, we're not doing that. We're doing this off of numbers, measurements, stats in your business. It's not a forced thing. It's not like every single month we have to do this or we feel like we're failing. No, it's casual. Then at these sibling dinners, we will talk about the business, we'll talk about our roles. The majority of the conversation is around the business, but it's done so in a way that feels comfortable. It's done so in a way that isn't the traditional office environment and reignites us as a family and aligns us as a family and allows us to laugh instead of just having the pressure that the business can create every single day. Now, I've talked a lot about our family, but I am married to my business partner. I work alongside my husband every single day. And if you specifically work with your spouse, I have created an interesting tool. I like to call it the WTF formula. Now, the reason it's called WTF, I think you know what WTF stands for. Have you ever worked with your spouse and thought, WTF? Well, if you have, this work together formula is likely for you. It is how we work together in the best way to align on what our strengths are and what our goals are in order to achieve our targeted mission. So if you go to cardinalventures.com/WTF, you can get access to the work together formula, take a little quiz, and understand if you and your significant other are on the right path to be able to achieve your business targets while working together. I'm also curious to know in the comments, what are your tips for navigating a failing business with your family? Have you had this happen before? Did you actually have the business fail? Did you work through it? I want to know, I want to better understand what your challenges are as it relates to family business, because as I mentioned at the start of this video, there are so many family businesses, and to the extent that I can create better content in order to support family businesses and really understand your pain points, that is the mission that I have here. So looking forward to seeing you next time.